So, hi everyone. Welcome to the fourth edition of Lifft India Filmotsav and Awards World Cine Fest 2020, a virtual meet. And today we are in conversation with our founder of Lifft India, Mr. Riju Bajaj, and uh, director of film Penny, Mr. Robert. So, let's talk.
Hi, Madhavi.
Hey,
Hi,
Michael.
sir. Hi. How are you all doing today?
I'm great.
Great, thank you. So, I would like to first compliment that it's a very, very, eye-catchy movie, and I want to know the location of the movie. Where has been this movie, shot?
So it was shot in Toronto. All of my films have been shot roughly in Toronto, with the exception of my first film being shot partly in New York. But
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
it was shot in Toronto.
Toronto. Right. See, you have precisely, mentioned a lot of, you know, dimensions, I must say. You have shown a relationship, you have shown a chaotic situation, and also addressing I must say, the African and an American kind of a thing onto the movie. What do you have to say on that? Just brief a little bit about your movie and your idea behind it.
So I think that everything's politicized these days, right? And I
Right.
think that what it comes down to, Penny is not a political film. Penny is a human film.
Hmm.
So we're talking
Hmm.
about, at the core of it, I always admire my favorite filmmakers because they give you Easter eggs, little hints as to what they really meant, and it's not always directly what you think it means. And so Penny really is about the consequence of misunderstandings and miscommunication. And so it's, if you can look at the characters, Penny, Louise, the cops, and then the bystanders, it's not to give away the end, but it's obvious something bad happens to him. And these
Hmm.
four characters all play as they're pulling at all directions. And really, it's Penny in the center who suffers due to the miscommunication, hatred, prejudice of all parties involved. I'm not trying to show that cops are bad. They are doing
Yeah.
their job to the knowledge that they know how to do the job. She's not bad. She's calling the cops because she thinks someone's chasing her. And the
Hmm.
bystanders are not bad because they are trying to record what they think is going to be a bad thing happening. Is really only him that suffers unjustly. He doesn't do anything to cause what happened. He doesn't resist. He's not yelling. He's not screaming, but he suffers nonetheless, and he's the bystander. So it's a metaphor for minorities all over the world, whether you're talking in India with the caste system and everything, or whether
Hmm.
you're talking about in North America with African Americans and Hispanics, is that often the people who have the least control over their lives are the casualties, and the actors on their lives are usually those who
Hmm.
have more control than them. So Penny is really a film about control.
Right. So tell us more about the casting. How did you cast the characters for this movie?
Yeah, so it was really hard to find someone to play Penny, specifically.
Right.
There were at least two or three actors that were great for Louise, and I'm very happy that we went with Kate. She's a phenomenal actress, and we used both of
She
the.
comes from she comes from a theater background, I guess, right? I'm not wrong.
She does a lot of film, but like a
Oh,
lot of good actors, there's a lot of theater back there somewhere, right?
theater. Right.
So
Yeah.
I've always found that filmmakers, like directors, love film, but actors love theater. This has always been a personal thing of mine. This is like the actor's canvas. And really, filmmaking, like when you look at an actor's performance on the screen, that's not really their performance. It's the editor, it's the colorist, and whatever. And they're not really getting the feedback on what is truly what they're doing. They're getting feedback
Hmm.
on music and all that stuff. But yeah, in theater, it's just the actor in the room. So that's perfect for the actors. But yeah, with Troy, we were very lucky to find him. It was so lucky for us because he's so perfect for this role. He's so good at it, and he's more of a model than an actor generally.
Mm-hmm.
He's a
Oh, okay.
very good-looking guy, and he's very
Oh,
tall,
yeah.
and
Mm-hmm.
it was trying to find an African American or a black actor who could pass for somebody
Absolutely.
who was a good actor. Like that's finding a needle
Mm-hmm.
in a haystack here. I mean, we don't have we didn't have a lot of money. And generally the issue here also is that if you are a minority who's a very good actor, you usually go union pretty fast because those roles are in high demand. And so we were doing a non-union production here, so we didn't have access to all the union actors. So really finding Troy was like a miracle, and we're really happy we found him.
Okay.
So
So
is it
generally,
just one?
please
Is
carry
it
on, carry on,
yeah?
carry on.
Is it finding? Why do you say that you found it very hard to find an actor to play Penny? Is it only because of the unions that you could not have access to the union actors, or
Okay.
there's something else to it?
I mean, there's a lot to it because one, you got to find someone who's compelling, enough that an audience can root for them, because you have to get them to care about this character in very little time, right? He doesn't have a lot of time on screen, as you've seen in the film. He doesn't have a lot of time to build up his story. It's not his story, it's her story. So technically, it's her story about him. It's not his story about her. So you have to get an actor who can really grab the audience very quickly, and he does. He's so good, and I care about him the second he talks. I love this guy. So that's very hard to do. Number two, I'm not black. I don't know if you can tell, I'm not black, and I'm writing a black story, and it's a racially charged story. And really, when I first wrote it, I'm like, I don't know if anyone's going to want to play this role because this is a tough pill to sell.
Yeah,
You're telling
yeah.
a story about a black.
It's a very delicate issue, actually.
It is a very delicate issue, and I
It's a very delicate issue.
someone told me it would be career suicide, and I said, you know what, this is a story I want to tell. I have the blessing from a lot of people, and you know what, we did our Toronto premiere here last year in 2019 around this time, and one of the actresses who was in the film, Malika, she plays one of the bystanders with the phone, and her mom came up to me after and she said, this is such a human character that you've written, Penny. How did you do it? And I was like, I drew it on my real life experiences because I grew up in New York, I grew up in New Jersey, I grew up in downtown, like the rough neighborhoods in Toronto. I had black friends every step of the way, and I've never had an issue. I've never seen myself as different. Like we were one and the same. I'm an immigrant, Like I always found it funny when Serbs come over from Serbia. We always gravitate towards having a lot of black friends because we all have some similar interests. We feel kind of like not white, and number two, we love basketball. So it was like a very easy thing when you're young to unite with people that way. My best friends growing up were almost all black. So it's like, like to me, it's very easy to write this story. But when you look in the climate, cultural climate and political climate of 2020, people will still say that's a white guy writing a black story. I don't like that. So, but I did it as well as I could and as honestly as I could, and I had no malice about it. So, yeah.
Yes.
Yes, Madhavi.
So okay. Okay. So, well, I want to share. I know I've also been personally living to New York. I lived there for a long time, and I knew that. I mean, one of the incidents did take place, and I know about it. A place called Newark. Um,
That's New Jersey,
well,
not New York.
yeah.
It's between New
So
Jersey and New York. Yeah.
yeah. So happen to take the driving license. You have to go there, fill up the form, and everything. So it did happen that, uh, I must not take this word black, but yes, it's a taboo. You know, you must come back from that time to that time. Do not visit this time to this time to this place. Why? Why? So that's what you have really shown it that there is one single element in all of us that's called humanity,
Mm-hmm.
irrespective of any caste, religion, color, anything.
Sure.
That's what I like about the movie. And rest, technically, I don't know. Mr. Riju sir will handle it. I know he's good at it.
I don't think there is any reason that we should be discussing the technical aspects when we are dealing with the independent films, which are mostly made at a very shoestring budgets. So we know all the constraints and which the gambit which goes behind it. But yes, what I would like to know is most of the questions you've answered, Robert, for us on your own. Why you chose the subject, because you were relating with these kind of troubles and problems. Since you yourself are an immigrant in the US. So you identify and you connect with that emotion. But what intrigues me is that, these days we know that the BLM, the Black Lives Matters, the movement is touched its peak, and we know what all happened in the recent months just before the elections took place in US. So was this anywhere connected with that movement when you scripted this, or it was much, much before this movement?
Well, Black Lives Matter has been around much longer than 2019. It's been here for quite some many years now, and it goes through peaks and valleys, right? So someone gets shot, everybody cares for 3 months, and then it goes away, and then 6 months later, somebody gets shot, someone captures it on camera, and then people care again. So it's not a new thing, and obviously I did not write this before Black Lives Matter existed, because Black Lives Matter has existed long before. So this is not, but this is not really the same message, right? This is like, it's dealing with a similar subject, right? But what you said, what Madhavi said, was that we are all human, right? And all humans are what? Afraid of something. Yeah, it doesn't matter if you're afraid of a shark or whatever. And I have always admired people who made the world less afraid. One of my personal heroes and someone that I grew up admiring, and he died in 2017. He was a friend of mine, Rob Stewart. He made a documentary called Shark Water, and it was about making people unafraid of sharks. And if you haven't watched the documentary, you are free to look at me like I'm absolutely crazy, because you watch Jaws and you realize the sharks are terrible. But this mentality that sharks are terrible is what has led to 90% of the sharks from the world being wiped out by illegal finning. And so when you are afraid of something, you don't champion it. And that's what Rob had said. He said people care about pandas because people aren't afraid of pandas. People don't care about sharks because they're afraid of sharks. So I grew up in the 90s in New York, and every news story, every second day, you heard a story about a black shooting. Black guy shoots black guy. Black guy shoots white woman. Black guy robs this person. So you see,
exactly.
every single day, you get brainwashed with this shit, and you start hearing stories. Don't go to Washington Heights at night. Why? Nobody says why, but it's understood why. It's a black neighborhood. Don't go at night. You'll get shot. So people say this over and over and over again, and now we get woke. In 2008, we get Barack Obama, and suddenly everyone's supposed to forget all the brainwashing that they suffered from CNN, and now the same CNN is telling you that you're racist if you think this way. But that doesn't help anything. Telling people that they're racist for being afraid of something doesn't help the world become less afraid. It now makes them afraid of something else, which is being accused of being racist. You know what I mean? So
Yes.
really, what you have to do is create togetherness and exposure, because I have not met one friend of mine who has had a real connection with another person from a different race and not become less afraid of that person and their culture and their race. You can't go to Africa. Like, I've been to Africa, I've been to India, I've been all over the world. Every time I go to a place, I feel more like similar to the people that I meet and less dissimilar. And that allows for communication, open bridges, and suddenly you can have conversations. So many times I'll get into a cab here, or I'll get into an elevator. I live in a neighborhood that's very immigrant friendly, and someone will talk to me like they're from India or something, and I would have nothing to say to this person if I've not lived the life that I've lived. But I happen to know a ton about Bollywood films, and I've been to India, and I get to talk to them about this. and suddenly there's a connection. And so, someone says, "Oh, this is so weird. I didn't know anything about Sylvia." I was like, "Okay, well, great. So now let me tell you a little bit about this." So things get, better as we come together. So it's not about divisiveness. It's not about creating rules and making people hate each other. It's really about opening doors so people can talk to each other.
Correct.
For your film, we see that you've also written this film, and you've also been credited as a cinematographer for the film. You, of course, directed the film and produced the film. So, how do you manage these three, diverse departments like writing and direction and the camera? Are you a trained filmmaker?
No, I'm not a trained filmmaker at all, but I am a good writer. I will just give myself a little pat on the back. I am a good writer. I think that.
Yes.
I have intuitively understood how to direct because I'm very good at telling lies. So my basis for directing is if the actor sounds like they're lying to me, I tell them to do it again. So that's basically how I get away with directing and writing. Cinematography is very difficult. And with Penny, like, I know you say you don't want to get into technical issues. My God, there were so many technical issues with Penny. And my work has gotten 5,000% better since then. But that film really taught me what I didn't know. Like, we wanted to do everything. Tracking shots, and suddenly they're moving and they're blurry. And it's like, budget is an excuse. Okay, we had $1,700 to do Penny. And that's nothing. Like over here, shorts are made for $20,000, $30,000, good ones. I think we accomplished a lot for that $1,700. But very recently, I shot a short for $200, and it looks 10 times better than Penny. So it's really not just about money and whatever. It's about understanding your gear, understanding what you're doing, having a plan before you go in with pre-production, pre-production, as my mentor says, pre-production, plan for the unplanned, and really rehearsing every camera movement or whatever. So once you realize that this is what you have to do to get a good film, you'll do it. But when you don't know that you have to do it and you think you can show up with a camera and just hold it and it'll work out, that's when you end up with a mess. So it's not really about the money. It's not about being trained or untrained, I think.
Right.
Very true. How was it working with Miss Kate Fenton? Because she's a trained actor. She has some amazing body of work as a theater artist for television and short film. She's also a writer. So how was it? What did she bring on table? Like when you present a script to an actor, so was she doing what you have told her to do, or did she add something to the script?
So I love working with actors who know more than me, and Kate knew so much more than me. She knew everything, and it made me feel 2 inches small. I really didn't like her very much on the first day of set, to be honest. Like, I was like very upset because she was calling me on everything. Like, she was just like, "You didn't plan this, you didn't plan that," and it was so annoying to me because it was like this. Yeah, I'd never really worked with an actor who had that much experience before. I worked with really good actors, like all throughout. Like every time I'd shoot a film, I try to work with the best actors possible. I do so because I know they're going to teach me something. Kate taught me a lot. Like within like moments of meeting her, I was like, "Oh God, I'm not good enough to direct this woman." And it's true. I wasn't, and she ended up directing a lot she directed me a lot, and she also helped, she helped Troy so much. So his performance, I always say a great actor, the mark of a great actor is their scene partner. I've always believed this. Bad actors, they screw up their scene partner a lot because they don't pay attention when it's not their line. They don't pay attention when the camera's not on them. They give the other actor nothing. She gave him everything. And she was coaching him in the middle. Like, I'm so lucky that we had her. Even though I did not like her on the first day, I grew to appreciate her so much by the second day. And yeah, she showed me how little I knew about directing when I was working with her. It was unbelievable. It was like a master class. And her husband's a really good writer, Adam Siebel. So my whole "I'm a good writer" thing didn't work on her at all. Like, she was just like, "No, buddy, I'm married to a good writer. You're nothing." So yeah, so it's amazing to work with someone like that. You grow, you learn, and hopefully you adapt very quickly. Yeah.
Well, that's exactly. I mean, I think you've put it very well in a very articulate way, and describing the actor's contribution to your film. Very few directors accept that, actually. To be very honest, because I worked with some the best of the directors in Indian cinema. I myself am an actor, so I know how they respond when we see the script and how we bring about the changes of the lines and the blockings or the moments or the emotions, which are missing in a script. So which is what the actors bring in front of the camera, and
Right.
how directors just lap up the compliment or the credit for that work and don't give it to the actors. So I'm very happy to hear you and listen you that the kind of credit you have given to Miss Kate for what she brought to the script and helped you in direction. And you being modest by saying that how little you knew about direction. I don't think so. I think you know a lot about direction, and you're a fabulous director and a cameraman, and you write well. The issue that you've picked is very pertinent all over the world. The colors may change. It may not be about the racism of the color. It could be about religion and so on and so forth. I mean, we are facing this problem the world over in different ways and degrees. So we connect on that part. And I would also like to know that since you have been living in Asia and then you migrated to US, so what is your connection with Asia?
Yeah, so my dad, he worked in Riyadh for a very short period of time. So my it's a little bit disingenuous to say I lived in Asia because I don't really remember it at all. I was very, very young, but that was part of it. And I lived in Europe, lived in Italy, lived in France, lived in Serbia, lived in Croatia, lived in the United States, of course, and then moved to Canada. So I've been all over, but I have a special connection to certain countries and certain places that I really appreciate. I did not like India the first hour to 2 hours, 5 hours, 10 hours that I was there. I was very upset because it was summertime and we had a plane that got off onto the tarmac, not into the airport. So you don't even get a moment to adjust to the wave of heat and humidity and smell that's about to hit you in the face. But very, very shortly after, I grew to really love it. Went to Hyderabad. I went to New Delhi. Yeah.
I'm in Hyderabad.
You're in Hyderabad.
Madhavi is currently, she is based in Hyderabad, and she's right now talking to us from Hyderabad.
Very nice. I hope you're enjoying the nice breeze that is in there. I really liked Hyderabad. I was not expecting to, because usually when you're here, people don't talk about that.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, people talk about Mumbai and whatever. I never went to Mumbai. I never went to the Taj Mahal. I never
never came to Mumbai, so you're out of the question.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
That's for him.
It seemed.
Well, I'm sure you would be coming to India quite soon, since you've made a film which is partially in Hindi. So tell us something about that.
Yeah, so I made a feature film called The Intersection, and it's 5 storylines. And what's unique about this film is that it bleeds into each other. So to present it in a way that you might be able to understand very quickly, imagine you go into let's say a story happens with you and Madhavi. Like, say you're having a discussion about something and the film's about you, and then you go into a cafeteria and a fight breaks out right in front of you at the cafeteria between two people that you don't know, and the cops and arrest them. But the camera just tilts away from you guys and starts following that story. So you were very loosely part of that story just because you were geographically connected to it, but technically you have nothing to do with that story, but the story becomes about that. And so it's really about, it's about these 5 characters.
The connection.
Yeah, and it's not just the gimmick. It's the themes are very much tied together. It's about, as many of my films are about, it's about violence, and it is about, it's actually about the nature of hell, to be honest. So there's this, the 4th storyline is the 5th storyline is Radha, which is Shreya Patel, and her storyline is about a girl, and ironically, Troy from Penny is in that storyline, and he's her boyfriend.
Okay. Oh,
So in
right.
that storyline, which is the last storyline of the film, her brother Vikram has discovered online a picture of her and Troy, which has surfaced on Facebook and is being shared, and she's not supposed to have a black boyfriend. So she gets into a lot of trouble with her dad, and they're like screaming at her and her mom. And it's this interplay, like this final storyline of intersection plays as a family drama. The other ones are all like, you know, they're people with guns and stuff, but this one plays as a family drama, and it's basically the three ways that this girl is attacked in her home by her family. You know, from her brother, who's like legitimately calling her a whore and telling her that, you know, she's worthless and all this stuff, to her father's, you know, like putting all the cultural pressures of, you know, like, oh my God, like, you know, like, why did we come to this?
You're not supposed to do this, you're not supposed to do that, blah, blah, blah.
Who's going to marry you, whatever. And then finally, the mother, who we think is on her side, and we expect to be on her side to be able to relate to her woman to woman. And the mother is the one who drives in the dagger by basically, you know, giving her the full run-of-the-mill guilt trip of, you know, like, when we country, we only had $20. What about your father's blood pressure? What about this? What about that? You know, this bullshit, you know, thing that I've seen play out in so many families that have this dynamic of girls must follow this line. It actually reminds me of a Hindi movie. Oh God, it's with Akshay Kumar and Dharkan, right? It reminds me of Dharkan, like her conundrum in Dharkan. You know, where
you're very good at Hindi movies.
Yes, I've watched over 500 of them, and it's that line where I think the father delivers the lines to the daughter, and he says something like, the honor that a son can give a daughter
can give to a parent,
the love
is
yes,
the luck, or yes,
the love the daughter can give
by obeying them,
No.
obeying to them.
The line was the love that a daughter can give to her father, to her parents, is better than the son, but the shame that she can give is also bigger. So that whole thing stuck with me, that line, and you know, it just made sense. So yeah, so that's really the intersection. It's starring some fantastic actors that have all gone on to do huge things, Netflix, etc., and been in feature films with big actors and stuff. So we're hopeful about this film. It's very original, and it's cool looking. You know, it's like very dynamic. It looks like New York. No one believes that we shot it in Toronto. People from Toronto are like, where the hell is this? This is not in Toronto. So we made it look very, it's a cool film. I'm really looking forward to 2021.
It's really strange that even in today's modern era, we are still dealing with the issues and the problems which Shakespeare had touched in his plays, like, for example, Romeo and Juliet. I mean, what we're discussing out here is absolutely no different from Romeo and Juliet situation, which exists all over the world. What we're talking about here, I mean, you know, the fight between the families and disagreements, etc. However,
it does exist.
Yes, but that's life, and the films are a very strong medium of influencing people. Like you earlier said, Robert, that people have image of sharks to be very violent, and they were scared of the shark, and nobody's scared of the pandas. So these are the impacts of the films.
Actually, it's the other way around. I wanted to say it's the other way around. They are scared of us. We are less scared of them. Yes. They are scared of us, so they bite us. You know, it's the other way around.
It's
actually, it happens with snakes.
Curious.
They are scared of us. They're scared of our movements. You know, the movements which we make. They are scared, and they just, you know, sting you. The very moment.
You know, I was bitten by a rattlesnake when I was 16 years old.
Oh my God!
And you survived that.
I created this mess because my mother had once told me that if you are ever confronted by a snake, step on its head. She had told me this. Terrible advice. If you're ever confronted by a snake, walk away. Okay. But she told me that if this happened, so I was in New Jersey at the time, and I had my headphones on and I wasn't paying attention. Everyone else heard the rattlesnake except for me. And I guess when I rocked the log, it was a wet log, the rattlesnake came out, and I was the last person to notice. The minute I saw it, I freaked out and I tried to step on it, and it bit my leg. So it's funny, right? Like, I mean, if I had just not done that, but this is what bad messaging does, right? So if I ever have kids one day, I'm going to tell them, if you see a snake,
Yeah.
walk away. But yeah.
Don't stand.
Robert, you are also you're multitasking and multi-talented. Apart from being a filmmaker and cameraman, writer, you're also hosting your own film festival. Tell us something about that.
Sure. So the Pendance Film Festival is pretty much, I would say, it's the fastest growing film festival in the world. We launched it in 2017, December. So in, I think, 5 days or 4 days, we're going to come up on our 3-year anniversary, and we're going into our 4th year in 2020.
Wow.
It happened at TIFF Bell Lightbox. The Toronto International Film Festival has a building here, the TIFF Bell Lightbox. So it happened there last year. We've flown in some of the best filmmakers from around the world, some awesome, voices. And, I know that you said that Lifft and like what you guys are doing is very similar, and actually it's not.
Lifft India.
Yeah, Lifft,
right.
It's not similar. So I think the platform that you've created is very inclusive, supporting more of independent filmmakers, and that's awesome. That to me sounds like the Slam Dance mission, and I love it. I'm happy that this is happening in India, and that so many people are going to have a chance to exhibit their work. Pendance isn't really about that, to be honest. Our mission is very different. It's a story-driven film festival, cutting through. But one thing I will say that we are united in is that we're not star crazy. Like, we're not star obsessed. It's not about, oh, who was your big actor? How much money did you have to make your film?
Absolutely. Right. It's all about talent.
It's about achieving like a mastery of visual storytelling, which is what we're about. So, too often that I've gone to Berlinale Berlinale, let's leave them off the list because they're awesome. But I've gone to TIFF, I've gone to other film festivals, and sometimes you'll see a film and you're like, if this film did not have this actor, would there be any chance in hell that anyone in the world would see this film? And the chances are you would not. And what it is like, if you cut past that, if you get over the whole, oh, Will Smith's in it or Jamie Foxx is in it, then really you're just faced with, is it a good story? Does it matter? Is it honest? Is it good, cinematography? So we're really about that. And yeah, so we've been here now for 4 years, and our submissions keep jumping up every year. And I know COVID, and I'm pretty sure the next question you're asking is how COVID is impacting us.
Absolutely, yes. Because COVID is something which has propelled us into going online, digital, and has forced us to reinvent ourselves and rediscover ourselves, and how to present a festival, how to steer this festival in these troubled times. Yes. So I would like to know.
That's how you discovered me.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so we were the last major film festival to happen in North America before the shutdown. So we happened February 20th to 23rd, and then March 12th, I think, March 11th, the world shut down. So yes, it was very lucky that we got right in, but we saw it even when we were doing our screening. So we had like 200 people at a screening, 250 people, whatever, and then, 5 or 6 people are wearing masks, 10, 15 people don't show up, and you're like, oh, okay, this is about to be a really big deal. So I've been against online film festivals my whole life. Like, I hate the concept of going online. I don't want to do it. So we pushed our February Film Festival to March, anticipating that because the vaccines are now coming out slowly, that possibly by March we'd be able to do a film festival live. I'm a big nostalgic believer in cinema, like cinema in person. And honestly, I've had Penny now displayed, I think, 5 or 6 times online. It's not the same. It's just not the same thing. I've also seen it exhibited in theater, and it's been done incorrectly. And, it's like, to cherish the filmmakers, like to care about the filmmakers, is to exhibit the work properly. So you can't live stream, I don't want to do that. I don't want to live stream the work. I don't want to put it on YouTube. I don't want to put it on Vimeo. It's not the same thing. These works, that we're exhibiting are treasures. They're very important. They're great pieces of art. These directors might be, maybe you're dealing with something very personal for a director, something that took them 10 years to write, 15 years to figure out how to shoot, 2 years to raise the money for, and you're just going to put it on YouTube. I don't want to do that. So to me, it's like, if we can't do it live, I want to do a drive-through. A drive-in cinema, and we'll do some portion of it online. Our submissions definitely have been impacted by this because a lot of people are waiting till 2021 for film festivals. They don't want to do the online thing either, because sometimes, as you mentioned in our preliminary, before this interview, we were talking about how some directors don't want their work on a computer because it's easy for piracy and whatnot. So I'm aware of that as well. But this is a new challenge, and to be honest, great film festivals, like film festivals that are generally great at running film festivals, have done online great as well. They find a way to make it work. They make it more interactive. They do something. So if we do have to go online, because this whole thing with COVID is very unpredictable, we will do our best job to do the best job we can. So we'll do something new. We'll do something original if we can.
Great. So
Very positive.
on this note, we should wrap the session. Madhavi, if you have anything else left on your slate to ask, please go ahead.
No, I guess I really love the thought process, what he's carrying, and I wish him all the very best for his future. And maybe see good movies like this, more from you. And that's it.
Yeah, and
Keep
all
your
the best
fingers
to
crossed.
Pansare Films. And I would be really obliged and will look forward to if some sort of a synergy can be built between Lifft India and Pendants.
That would be awesome.
And to have you on board for something, because I think we do share a similar dreams.
Absolutely. That's what I feel.
That's really
I
cool.
feel so.
All right.
Right. So, wish you all the best. And that's it from my end. You want to say something?
No, thank you, Robert, for being with Lifft India. Yeah, one question I would like to ask. It's a very personal one. Why did you choose to submit your film to Lifft India? See, because we are also as old as Pendants. We also started in 2017, and we have reinvented ourselves into a digital online festival like this. Though we are not screening the films for the public on the online medium, we are just announcing the awards. So, why did you choose to submit your film to Lifft India?
Well, I don't know if you know this, but I've been selected to Lifft before.
And which film was that?
If I'm not mistaken, you selected Allurement 2 years ago.
Allurement, yes. I
Same guy.
remember. Yeah,
Same
yeah,
guy.
yes, yeah.
So I really appreciated Lifft. I don't like most film festivals. Can I be honest here? I don't like most film festivals.
Of course.
It's annoying to me that Film Freeway has opened the door to 9,000, random events, and I swear to God, 8,000 of them should not exist. I've always believed it's very frustrating, because I've dealt with some of these people, and I do my best not to be associated with them. And I have a lot of friends, that are both really incredible filmmakers who only screen at Sundance and Cannes and TIFF, and then I have a lot of other filmmaker friends who screen at, every film festival that you've never heard of, and I just don't want to be associated with anything that doesn't bring me value. And one thing I realized when I was first selected to Lifft with Allurement was your laurel and your communication, and we were just at that point launching Pendants ourselves, and I was like, you know what? I usually assume that every film festival that's younger than 3 years is probably going to be screening in a basement and is going to suck. But I did not feel that that was the vibe that I got from you guys. I thought that this was a festival that was run by people who cared about films. And it's obvious to me that when I say Allurement and you are able to immediately connect the dot to a film 2 years ago, that you must care about this film to remember it 2 years later. Because I know people, are festival directors, unfortunately, who don't know the films that they're screening this year. And, as a festival director myself, when a filmmaker comes up to me at our film festival, I can tell them everything about their film, from who was their cinematographer, to how long their film was, to like what other film festivals it's gone to. And they really appreciate that, because you can't fake that part, right? You can fake everything else. You cannot fake a genuine human connection. So I feel that with, and I feel like you guys care, and that's a good reason to submit to a film festival. Yeah.
Thank you for your kind words, Robert. And we'll make sure that we don't disappoint you in our subsequent editions.
Oh, of course not.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for sparing your precious time for us, Robert.
Yes, thank you so much.
Feel free to connect on social media.
Thank you.
Yes. We are there on YouTube, and this entire thing will be put up on our YouTube channel, and you can access it on YouTube or via Facebook page.
Absolutely. Okay, awesome. And I will let you know what Kate says. Hopefully she'll be able to join you guys. This was really fun.
Cool.
And
all the best for all your projects.
Both. Nice to meet you.
See you.
Thank you.
Bye.